Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
We are on episode 22 of this journey together, Ty.
It is a journey, isn't it?
It is a journey, yeah.
A social distancing journey. Well, I guess it's been like that since the beginning.
It's
nice to see you. This new thing we're using, you look crystal clear, and you look yummy.
It's that 4K yummy.
Oh, yeah, you looked at me right good. When you said that too. Oh, get out of here.
You look. It's all right. You're fine.
Whatever. I want to thank you, while we're on the subject, for not pushing any of my subjects from episode 21 to episode 22. Everything that I put into our episode 21 notes, we got through. That might be a first.
It 100% is a first. And I tried hard. I really tried. Oh, yeah. I was like, how can I move something? But it just didn't work.
I just touched on everything just a little bit so you couldn't move it.
Yeah, you just quickly start talking before I had a chance.
It's gone.
Yeah. That's right. All right. How was your week?
Oh, man. Crazy week. Week. I mean, Hearthstone got a completely new ranking system. I planted a tree. The weather's nice. It's crazy. It was
planted
awesome.
A tree?
Yeah.
Like at your house?
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of tree?
Curly willow.
Okay. Well, obviously, who wouldn't? Why?
Because it was given to us.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They asked if we wanted another, and I'm like, no.
Who gives a tree?
The hard thing about a tree, well, it's one of those trees where if you kind of cut off a certain part of it, the tree's totally fine, but it'll grow its own tree. So they gave it to us, and they're the type of people they bring over jam and salt.
These neighbors,
homemade stuff, yeah, and very best neighbors in the world. And anyway, so there's this curly willow, but the roots are high growing roots. They're not low growing roots. So I can't put it anywhere that I wanted to because roots, of course, are strong enough, especially when they're high growing to, rip up your driveway and stuff like that. So I was like, pretty picky. But
front or backyard?
Back.
Okay.
Back. Yeah. We don't want anything ripping into the, like I said, driveway or street or stairs. But cool. So I was playing Hearthstone's new ranking system, came out on our Tuesday. And I was playing, I'm a huge Hunter fan. I love the secrets. Oh, goodness gracious. And so I'm playing away and I was playing another Hunter and it was obvious that they were really new to the class, the things that they were doing and not maximizing as they were playing with the other cards that they had in their deck. And I felt bad beating them. But I mean, I also have my dailies to do, so I don't feel that bad. But just as I was about to beat them, I realized they had a golden hero icon. That means that they've won 500 times with that class. And they were playing it all weird with classic cards too, not new cards, classic cards. And it was weird.
Why is that weird?
Well,
the game's been around forever. You just
but you wouldn't play like a dolt if you had 500 wins with that class. Oh, but then I thought right after I wrote that they could have just been letting their kids play. And I probably barely beat a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Just a reminder for everyone, welcome to Forever Exiled, a Path of Exile podcast. Just in case you thought you stumbled onto the wrong one.
Yeah. And so
that's cool though.
No, it was a really, really good week. And it was busy with guide writing. It was busy with making final decisions for filter stuff again. It was good. How was yours?
So I saw a picture on our Twitter, I think when I was just scrolling through.
Okay.
That reminded me of the video that you said you did, that one video of just you looking at the beams.
The mini map icons and effects. That's a good video.
There was a Twitter picture of somebody saying something like, I love laser beams or something. And it was them testing and it was across their whole screen. It was that good old NeverSync.
Oh, he has his own video?
It was just a picture. You're fine.
Oh. No, that's going to be my video. I am going to the top.
My week was not great. It was just work. I didn't get to play almost at all. This week, my computer was like the scourge. I didn't want to be near it.
Oh, yeah.
I hear you. Doing tons of work on it. I didn't do a whole lot either because I shared my Steam account or whatever that family sharing thing is with Ethan, and he did a ton of Jackbox with his friends. So I think if I load up POE while he's doing that, it would stop him from being able to play it. And I just did not care. I just did not have any desire after being on oh my God, I don't even know how many calls this week with Zoom meetings and stuff. I just didn't want to be near this computer. It made me sick. So I kept up with a lot of stuff going on, but play wise, I think I maybe got on twice. And I kind of feel bad because there were a couple of people I was supposed to trade with or give some items to that I haven't even had a chance to do that with. So if you're listening, I still have them. You can get them. This week was, it was not a week for POE for me, not at least on the playing side. I did a lot of like keeping up and scrolling through Reddit and Twitter. I hate Reddit. I mean, we might talk about Reddit stuff later, but I just don't like it. I don't know why. I mean, I've been banned a couple times. So
I thought you were going to have a point or a reason. I hate Reddit, and this is why, and this is stupid, and the ranking system, and this and that. And you're like, I don't know.
Well, I think the up and down arrows are kind of dumb already, but it's a breeding ground for dicks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Mm-hmm. I like Twitter. I like scrolling through that, and Discord has been fun to keep up on our Discord. That one's fun, but. Yeah, it was not a week of POE for me on the playing side. It was, and I didn't miss it. Like I actually started to think about it. I was like, I'm going to get back into it because I really like Delirium, but I didn't really miss it. I kind of needed that break from it because I was getting really frustrated with my build and with just the game itself. So
you want to start new builds together?
I do want to start a new build, but I don't know what yet.
Because I know, really sure. And I'm ready. And this is the first time, another first in history, where I'm ready to go right off the bat, and you're not.
I know. Give me like a day. Let me think about it.
Who needs a day to make a build? Come on, what is this?
It's gonna be a weekend of just drinking. That's my goal this weekend, and then I'll get back into it on Tuesday.
Well, actually, I remember my wife told me this week, so you better get into it pretty quick, because my wife told me this week that she's starting to get the Sims craving again.
Don't you have it on a console or something?
Come on now. Come on.
Don't you? I thought you did.
It is. It's on EA Access, but it's totally better on PC.
Do you still
It's the only game that's better on PC than on console.
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
No.
Do you actually pay for EA Access still?
It's $30 a year. Huh. And there's some good games on there. They just had Burnout Remastered come out, which is a wicked racing game. Anyway, but I guess because EA is like the worst company in the world to make anything. But they do make Sims. And so there's people, even though they barely support it stable wise, they still come out with an insane amount of stuff to spend money on. And so they, welcome to the Path of Exile podcast, by the way. They, people like come up with challenges, for each other,
like
and
their own thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then they share. So she follows somebody that comes up with some pretty cool challenges. And so she said that she has this craving to do this 7 lovers challenge. So you have 7 lovers at once in Sims.
That sounds exhausting.
Well, I just hope that she gets rid of this craving in the game.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like play. Yeah. You go play Sims. You go ahead, lady. You go ahead. But we're a one PC family, and she's always very kind, letting me. But she's totally fine that I play POE on whatever device, console or PC, whenever I want. And so when she wants to play, might cut into my PC time and private league time. So we'll
have to have a talk about that. So how's your build? Because you've been playing. So are you still playing your same build this have you been playing the same build this week?
Yeah.
Level 14 CI.
I play PC primarily to play with you. So when you're taking your break, I take the advantage of touching up things on console, maybe getting some gameplay in for my guides, right? Just upload a new video so people can see an updated gameplay. Because I'm, doing PC console, I still actually haven't gotten Cyrus to the highest awakening level yet on console in standard. So still got to actually get there to prove that my builds can do it.
Are you playing standard on console right now then?
I played 2 sessions of standard this week, yeah.
And does the lack of cluster jewels, does that?
Nah, it doesn't bother me. I'm really into the CI character that I have, though, because of those cluster jewels you got me. So they're very exciting, and I really hope they go core. I don't see how they can't. You can't come out with an idea like that and actually change it. For sure. I mean, it's not official.
It is. You heard it here first.
That's right. Inside information.
Yeah.
But I'm really liking my build. I've actually never played my CI Vortex on PC. I've always assumed I could play it. But the instant skill aspect of it is so fun. And I don't know why, probably because I've always ignored movement skills, but I just this week, even though it came out in 3.7, discovered that you can use wands with shield charge.
I saw you posting that in Discord.
I know.
I just quickly was able to open it one day while I was working. I was like, idiot, and closed it.
It's a melee attack.
I can't remember when what was it, 3.7? It was been a bit.
3.7.
Yeah.
And it
there was
just
a reason too.
Because it's the shield's your primary thing. It doesn't matter if it's and because they found that it just wasn't being used very much, even as a secondary thing to connect Fortify to. And so anyway, I thought that was really cool. But I found that I did some playing with shield charge when I discovered that. Because I'm trying to make my slow-mo zombies build a little bit beefier. So I found that if I actually,
right? Yeah, you're witch with. So again, there's actually a number of nodes in that top part of the tree that give you a benefit with the shield.
Oh yeah, a lot of really good ones. And there's also some. I just have a really hard time being a minion character and not using a convoking wand.
Sure.
So not having fortify has been driving me nuts. And then, of course, I've remembered or rediscovered whatever it is that shield charge can use wands. So I was doing some playing around, and I found that if I actually have a level 1 shield charge and maybe 15 movement speed, I don't get nauseous.
Oh, that's kind of
cool. Know. It's because they changed the animations when in 3.5. Remember when they changed the animations for some of their movement skills? They changed charge dash, they changed fortify, they changed leap slam.
Yep.
They even changed consecrated path shortly after.
Was it as far back as 3.5?
I don't know. Maybe it was 3.7.
I don't remember.
I mean, I guess time all just blends together. I mean, I can't believe it's been a month since Delirium's come out. Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, so I've been doing a lot of testing. I've been blowing a ton of currency on the different ideas and combos I'm coming up with because you got to try it out. It's one thing. One thing I've learned as a guide writer, whatever it looks like on paper, that's nice. You got to try it out in game. You got to try it out. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd ask you about your build, but you haven't touched it.
No, it's exactly the same as it was last week. It's been logged into twice.
Awesome.
I don't actually remember why. It's still Essence Drain Contagion. I still have relatively garbage gear.
Maybe you just enjoyed your rage Alt F4 so much that you just logged in to do it once or twice.
I can't remember. I feel like there was a moment of that where I was just. We talked about it last week. Don't play the game tired, and I was tired all week, so I think I picked a really bad time to just hop on and play. So my build has been exactly the same. Has not changed at all. I've been watching the chat. I heard that you were removed off the front page.
Oh, those are lies. Those are lies. No.
Well done, everyone. Well done.
Congratulations to who did it and noticed, whose goal it was to remove me from the front page. Can we add more people to the front page? Like, can you make it so that it shows the top 50 instead of the top 25?
By default? Heck no. Even if I could, I wouldn't. I know somebody said, like, I think KJ said something about change it to the top 100, which is a terrible suggestion.
That was a very thoughtful thing.
We don't care about the top 100. We want to see the top, what is it? I don't even know how many. 20?
Whatever number I am and above. Include that number.
That's too big of a number.
Well, anyway. So I mentioned that I've been playing standard and I've been going through. I had, when 310 came out, I had partial progress done for fighting Cyrus again, right? So I think I had one Watchstone already done. I forget which color it was. I think it was the green one. I had the Hunter done. So I've been going through and unlocking more. I got, another one. But I've been noticing, and maybe I don't know enough about the game, but I thought that certain, like the Hunter would always drop the green Watchstone. I thought that was the case, right? And
does it not?
Well,
pretty sure
I'm going through and I'm having red influence, and it drops a yellow Watchstone. That's weird to me. Red should drop red. Yellow should drop yellow.
Yeah, I don't actually. I'd assume that's right. I do not pay that much attention.
Now, and I think it's a glitch because I'm in standard and I had a previous series on the go, right? I already had one Watchstone unlocked, and you can see it in the center of the Atlas that's around your awakening level for the Atlas. And so I'm going through, and I make sure that according to the color of influence that I have, I don't have that watchstone for that region.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure on the left now, because now on the left it says, which watchstones you can get, which ones will drop, that kind of. So it's awesome. I didn't get it. So maybe it's just a glitch for, being in standard and being partway through the system already, and maybe it'll reset nicely once I fought Cyrus once. But
it's probably your filter.
I didn't get no, I am terrified of that, because the very first time they came out with watchstones last league, they weren't tagging as quest items. So I had to specifically list them out as base types. And so for the first month, people had to, primarily push down on the left analog stick. I don't know what this alt business is. It is alt,
so
right?
hard. Alt will show everything. Yeah. Z turns it on and off, or Z.
Yeah.
For our friends down south.
Z. Yeah. So unlike last week, not a very busy week in POE land and announcements.
Yeah, not a bad thing.
No, it wasn't kind of. Go ahead.
That being said, so there were no patch notes though.
Pretty cool, right? Because last week I think there were 30.
How do we podcast without patch notes though?
Isn't that all we do? Don't we just read patch notes?
Just read those patch notes and then move on. I don't know what to do now.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks. This has been episode 22, I guess.
Yeah. But it was really cool to see GGG posted some of the pictures of their offices and their permanent or temporary setups for people working from home, and that was pretty cool. I thought it was nice. 2 of the pictures showed the actual people that work. I thought that was cool. And that bottom one, did you look at them?
I didn't.
It was the bottom one's hilarious. It's one of the artists trying to write on one of his screens, and he has 5 or 6 kids crawling all over him. And one of the kids is even controlling the mouse, and he's like pretending to try and work. And that was pretty good setup.
That is cool. I think I don't mind that there's not patch notes happening, and I didn't play much, so it didn't really make a difference. But I think it's pretty cool that they're able to still work from home and do what they need to do. I'm curious to see how all this plays out in the long run, because I feel like a lot of businesses are going to start to have to reassess and be like, maybe some of our staff actually doesn't need to be in the office all the time. Like maybe that's
how cool would that be?
I don't know. I've played a lot of scenarios in my head with that just because of our own business, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. But cool, I'm glad that they're still doing their thing and able to work from home. Yeah, but I there wasn't much on their whole patch side, which was great.
No, there were some announcements as well. They came out with a new video that we'll go through later on. Not today. They also came out with a post about the Delirium uniques, the specific ones, and I don't know. I'm not the kind of person where I'm concerned about the artistic history of it and how it came to be, from a 3D perspective or an art perspective. But I do like hearing about how what they wanted these boots or this helmet to do, but they couldn't. And then as Delirium changed on the back end before it was released, they had to change this a little bit. And it's cool hearing them say, okay, well, this specific unique is really cool because these are the things that we foresaw for it and how cool all those cool encounters. I like hearing that from GGG's perspective, because there's a lot of the times but even though they're blown away by everything we do with uniques, just you and me, not everybody else, just you and me. But what everybody does with uniques, it's always neat to hear what the creators as a company ended up concluding with as to their value. Because they're the ones that determine their drop rates too, right? So I think that's really cool. I'm
always curious if there's stuff that people still haven't figured out that are combinations of uniques that they have.
Yeah, you love that. Yeah.
I'm so curious. Yeah. There's got to be, with as many uniques as there are in the game. There's, maybe, I don't know. Things like path of building and people who get to play the game 8 hours a day, I feel like they'd probably catch it by now, but.
Well, there's data mining that they allow too.
Yeah.
So, you can't hide it. People will find out what the name is, but you won't really find out its drop rate. But anyway, yeah, so that kind of stuff came out this week. It was pretty good.
Did you see, obviously you would see, they came out with their Delirium statistics.
Oh, those are my favorite posts. I love
Do they always do it at a month? Is it that always the timeline, 1 month in?
No, they mentioned that they did it at the 5-week mark for Metamorph, but that was likely because it was Christmas.
So
and like catch up. But
they kind of break it down in the beginning just regarding their orbs, Delirium orbs. Um, and then just like the percentage used and how many have been used. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of success. I was surprised how successful people were with the amount of orbs that they used on a regular basis.
Right. The part that surprised me on the success side was on the simulacrum side.
Yeah.
The orbs one, did they show how many were actually completed at 5? I don't remember seeing that. I saw like how many deaths there were.
Yeah.
Which it just goes to show how crazy 5 orbs are, because there's such a relatively small percentage of them. I think it was 9%
Yeah.
of all maps were on 5 orbs, but yet almost 18% of the deaths came from that.
Yeah.
Like the bulk of the deaths came from 1 orbs, which I just imagine is the normal player
Yeah.
that's just playing, and it's
You
just
gotta
harder.
figure out,
It's 20% higher.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny to me how useless 4 orbs is and how nobody's doing it, which it doesn't make sense to do it, right? That
No.
you're not getting the challenge of 5, you're not getting the full juice of 5, but you could just tone it down to 3 or 2, get a lot of stuff, and it would be a lot faster to run through. Like 4 is very clear. It's 3% of all the opens.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, there's not really a change you can do. I mean, if your build is more efficient at 3s, right? You can clear it easily enough. That's great. But if you can actually do a map with 5 orbs, that's what you're waiting for, and you're definitely not going to do 4. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point doing second best if you can do 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense to me. I really like this. Oh, hang on. I remember I can click on this. Simulacrum. I never remembered how that. Simulacrum. Oh, Windows just said simulacrum.
Well, that doesn't matter because Google and Siri say things stupid too.
Well,
but
anyway.
the simulacrum was impressive.
Well, I was really impressed that 76% of people have complete Wave 20 in the simulacrum.
Right. That's not 76% of people. That's 76% of the simulacrums that were started actually complete, which is very high.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, still a ton of deaths all over the place. But I really liked hearing the little things that aren't in the game. Where was it? They said Delirium bosses are quite difficult to present. No. Oh, shoot. There was a section where, the revelation will spawn at wave 15. Hang on. Wave 20 guarantees that Kosis, the revelation, will spawn if it hasn't already. Like there's some pretty neat mini rules that they have in there for which bosses show up when, if they haven't at a certain time, but it's still RNG based. So there's a chance that maybe if you beat Kosis in wave 18, you don't get him in wave 20. So there's still some pretty neat RNG. And then there's some other mods that they save for wave 15 and after. And those things just aren't general knowledge until they have a post like this. So I thought that was pretty neat. Pretty neat. So yeah, I really love these kind of stats. Absolutely love them. Here's something.
So let's get to the challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, that it's really, really low.
Really?
Like how many people have gotten further into the challenges? You see the tiny little blip at 36, which makes sense because those people who are going for the 36 challenges to get all the bonuses.
Yeah.
It's low, and I know we're only a month in, so it's not totally fair to compare it to much else yet.
Well, this is when I know that normally
they do it. Right. So why don't you go over what you were going to say, and then we'll chat about. I'll sort of kick in my thoughts to that.
Well, I don't think. I think Delirium's a really good league, and one of the cool. I mean, their creativity, GGG's creativity, is mind-boggling, and I don't know how you follow Metamorph because that was just praised left, right, and center by everybody for the most part. So to come up with another league that's able to retain people, I think this is doing a fantastic job. So for you to have a good amount of people still playing the league after a month, but to have challenge numbers really low, to me it just means people don't care about the rewards. they're playing the game, but they're playing it the way they want to. They're not playing it for any specific type of method. They're not trying to kill whatever enemies. They're not trying to kill this a certain amount of times. They just don't care about getting the reward, playing the way they don't want to get something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they kind of talk about that and ask,
Mm-hmm.
is it because we didn't have things like a portal? Which I feel like that's an obvious one. Maybe it's for me and you. It certainly is
Yeah.
an obvious one. Not that either of us have really ever gotten to 36 to pull off that portal, but it's
Yeah.
certainly a perk to it.
Yeah.
This one didn't seem to have it. I do agree with you on there, but I also wonder. I can't imagine retention is nearly as good with Delirium as it was for Metamorph.
No, but you wouldn't
I
compare it to Metamorph. I wouldn't think you'd compare it to the ones that were previous. Metamorph was just
I don't know that I
amazing.
would though. I feel like Metamorph kind of started a whole new way to gauge it because the end game totally changed. So I'm not even sure that you can compare. I can't compare
Yeah.
Delirium to Blight. Now Blight was terrible. One of my most hated leagues that I can think of in a really long time.
Mm.
But I don't, and I already know that the retention on it was quite low. But I don't know that you can compare Delirium to even Blight or any of the previous ones, just because you had a
End game.
huge change in Metamorph with the Atlas. So
Yeah. No,
it's
that's
not
true.
really a fair comparison. I just know that there's no way right now Delirium has retained like Metamorph did. And that's not to say something bad necessarily about Delirium either.
No.
That's just to say that Metamorph, it wasn't just Metamorph. We had the whole Conquerors was
Yeah.
all brand new. So all of that content in the end was new.
An amazing league and end game lasts twice as long.
Right. So
Yeah.
just literally everything was new. So people were just playing it for a longer period of time and playing it a lot more. And you added a portal into the challenge. And the challenges last league were way easier than this league. And I don't think they're
Yeah.
super hard this league, but there are some of them that are not easy.
You're not going to complete your totem.
I
Not many.
certainly will not.
No. I am.
No.
I am with my left hand and I'm right-handed.
Yeah. So the numbers don't really surprise me. The rewards were very meh, and I feel like retention's probably a little bit lower than it has been. It's certainly in Metamorph. There's just I feel like Metamorph probably set a relatively high new standard for any league
Yeah.
to sort of match up against, just because it wasn't just a great league. It was a massive change to the game
Yep.
as well. So yeah, the numbers to me don't surprise me. Their rewards were garbage to me. I don't really care about a wing or uh, the horns. I think I have the horns.
Oh, yeah. I like the MTX that they have. I'm
Sure.
not gonna try to get them though.
No, I'm not gonna go through all the extra steps.
No.
If they were like maybe the 24, but again, it's a cloak, so I don't
What's
really
the 24?
care.
Oh, the cloak.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
cloak. I actually like the statue more than the MTX rewards, just because they kind of look cool as they get bigger.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't look great when they're just stubs.
Yeah. To me, portals are just the pinnacle. They
Yeah.
really are. For me, I forget at what point I deviated from this, but with MTX, I actually only wanted to buy MTX for skills. I wanted all of my characters to look like the armor was supposed to look in game, right? Because they have some really cool art, especially for the unique items that I don't use. And then I like how the progression of all the different armor types start to look more and more epic, and they look really cool together. Some of them look really cool together. And so I never wanted to get into buying armor for my character, just skill MTX. But
So I have a ton of the like armor MTX stuff, but I will say last week I was doing a trade in my hideout. I think it was with Jamie from our Discord, and I even mentioned him. I was like, "Wow, your MTX looks great," and he wasn't wearing a chest MTX. It was
yeah,
actually one, and it looked awesome. It looked really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So yeah, some of it can look really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool when you're watching people. I like to support people on Mixer, especially those console folk. And
What?
so
Hold
I
on.
like.
For like 95% of people out there, what can you just tell us what Mixer is, Ty?
I discovered Mixer from my Windows phone. No,
That's right.
no. Anyway, you're a jerk. Um,
For those like me out there who don't care as much, it's like a Twitch. It's like
yeah,
a Twitch knockoff. It's like Microsoft trying to get in that game. They paid off a lot of like really big, high profile people. Don't think
yeah.
it works super well,
I don't
but
care if
some
it
people
works.
still use it.
It's pretty
Some
neat.
people still use
And
it.
it's really low latency, so it's awesome. But anyway, I like
tell
it.
me what you love.
Oh, please. Well, anyway, you totally deviated. I was going to talk about cool MTX stuff. And anyway, whatever. But one thing that I actually really like while watching people is like I like seeing the different MTX. I think that's really cool. And it's a great way to, spread the type of MTX that are out there. And I've started looking because I have all my gift cards, that I get, whether it's Steam or Xbox Cash, it's just waiting for that MTX that I just can't wait to get anymore. And then I eventually get it. So I've been looking lots. But another thing that I really actually like looking at, and this is kind of silly, but I really like seeing how people organize their stash tabs and how they organize, like, I don't know, their gear. I see people with 1,000 different stash tabs, and because they're having a stash tab sale this weekend too, so I thought it was appropriate and relevant.
But the only stash tab, you must be talking stash tabs outside of the set stash tabs.
Yeah, just your normal stash tabs or your quad tabs, and I like seeing what they do with them, how they organize. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. And why would you stack a whole bunch here when you have the currency tab and it's not full? And I like seeing how people organize their stuff, and it's actually kind of made me rearrange how I do stuff. Also, started doing chaos and regal recipes.
Yeah,
thanks to someone on Mixer. Easy way. Anyway, yeah, it was kind of cool. I like seeing that kind of stuff. So if you're broadcasting, you doing a lot of inventory on POE, shout me a holla done, yo.
Especially on Mixer. If you're on the Mixer, hit them up.
I will auto host you. You betcha.
So back to actual Path of Exile real stuff. We're in, good Lord, I think it's the 30th league, 29th league. Like, we're in a lot. There's been a lot of leagues that have come out in Path of Exile, and lots of them make it core. The concept of them are now in core
recently, for sure.
Well, I mean, you can go relatively far back. Prophecy.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a lot of them that is still in it. So I guess maybe more recent ones, because more recent ones are the ones that had like big changes to the game. But are there any that you think are working really well or not working well, or maybe need to be changed?
I think the best thing, this is relevant, the best thing about Path of Exile is the billion amount of combinations you come up with. I mean, even if you only had 2 paths you could take on the passive tree, the amount of active skill gems and support gems that you can have with is combined with all the different mods is insane. You're already looking at a billion different builds, let alone having 1,500 nodes on the tree to manipulate all of that. So my favorite thing, I mean, the whole reason I started playing was the infinite amount of possibilities that you can build a character. And as you and I have discussed, kind of like with timed things, like how you get the beginning, like how you level Alva and how you unlock your temple, timed things don't make sense to me. It's like them saying, okay, that's nice, you have a billion ways to play, but you have to play it fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then when it comes to mechanics that are implemented into the game, unless they're supposed to be hard to reach mechanics, they should be mechanics that consider every build as well. Not bad builds, but if movement speed isn't a requirement, slow build should be able to play it. If AoE isn't a requirement, single targets should be able to handle it. Right? Sure, with different pros and cons. Every build will have its pros and cons, just like any boss battle. With any build, you'll have your pros and cons. But I think the one Blight is the one that I think is the most specific, the one that the least amount of builds can do. Right? Blight's the one. I'm not mixing it up, right? Blight's the one with the pulsey thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was recent, right? And then the yellow trails break off, right? So there's an insane amount of loot that's there, but that loot only comes, all those awesome stashes only present themselves if you've protected the pulsey thing. What's it called? Pulsey thing. Okay, the pulsey thing. That's what it is.
Cassia's friend.
Cassia's pulse. And it drives me nuts because you need movement speed and you need high damage and you need, that's a give or take, but then you need AoE. And I just don't get how, for example, I was playing with a character that has really good AoE, really good damage, and really good defense. And because the pulsey thing split 180 degrees right off the bat, I didn't have a chance.
Yep.
Right. It's a T16 map. It had around 97, 98% quantity. And I'm going through, but like I'm destroying everything that's in my path, but it branched a tiny bit. And then all of a sudden there were a few of the portals where the enemies were coming out and they were ranged. And okay, so now my pulsy thing's getting hit from 3 different directions, but I can only be in one place at one time. I don't know. Like there's a couple things they could do to make that relevant. Maybe make the monsters tankier, but no ranged monsters. And it can't split 180 degrees from the pulsy thing. It can split 180 degrees later, but to have single target people, especially like remember when they changed melee? And I think it was Jonathan was saying, hey, maybe someone will use Glacial Hammer now. Who on earth is going to click a pulsy thing with Glacial Hammer?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep.
Right. You need to have a natural choke point at the beginning so that all of your skills have a chance.
Yeah. I think so. I
How about
agree
you?
with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, so just a very slight counter to the whole Blight is the one thing I like is it's not the league and you only see it once every 10 maps or whatever it is.
Sure.
So you don't really have to do it. But I 100% agree with you. What I wish is that
Anointments, though. You can't anoint without that. And that's a
right.
big deal.
Kind of. I feel like I got most of my oils from other things so far in this league. I don't feel like most of mine
Oh,
have
yeah,
come
yeah,
from
yeah.
Blight even. But
Okay.
you are right. Like you get a bulk of them from that. And the loot's good. The loot is good. My thing is that I agree with your point that there needs to be some form of a natural chokehold because it's made to be a tower defense game and not many tower defense games go, hey, here are you in the middle and everything's going to come in from the outside straight, like
Yeah, yeah.
in like 4 or 5 different paths.
Yeah.
And it does make it very, especially because you don't even know when a blight starts. You could think like, oh, this actually looks like it's all going to go one direction and I can sort of deal with
Yeah.
that. But then all of a sudden the 4th or 5th one that spawns now is like,
Yeah. The new
completely
paths
in
completely screw up your
you've
choke points.
you've
Yeah.
built all these like towers and stuff and yeah, so I do agree. I'm not a big fan of Blight. I never liked Blight though, to be honest. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I don't really have any that I'm like super negative towards. I love that Metamorph is the way that it is in this league, like the way that they brought it to core. I think it
I
works
really
great.
like it. Yeah. I'm loving getting it on standard. All of a sudden I get it and I see all the green dots on my mini map. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming for you. This is gonna be great.
I would like to see a stash tab for the final monster parts that you can get, just because they take up space. But to that, for I mean, really,
Yeah.
realistically, for how much you and I play, it's not like we're running into quad stash tab problems of these things. I'm sure people out there are.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm certainly
Mm.
not getting even close to that much. But I like that mechanic. I don't like Blight. Never have liked Blight. And if I see Blight go in 2 opposing directions, I'm out. I'll just
I do.
continue on the map.
I automatically just keep on going when it splits in 2 directions. I like Blight. I just wish that really good single target characters could do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of tossed on that one though because I agree that I wish they could maybe do it somehow, but one of my favorite things about last league with Metamorph was you couldn't just build a meta clear speed build and successfully be playing Metamorph. It was very you needed to have some
Yeah.
focus on being able to do single target damage. And so that's kind of the opposite side of Blight, where if you were playing something that was focused, that probably would have crushed a Blight map or Blight that came up in a map
Yeah.
with a clear speed, you couldn't go up against the Metamorph bosses because you would not have the damage to be able to actually kill it. But I feel like if you had single target, or I don't think anything is built single target. I think if you built anything in Path of Exile to do just single target damage, you're probably doing it wrong. But I do agree that you shouldn't have to be managing 180 degrees of monsters. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be able to clear an entire screen with 1 or 2 attacks. And if you had everything choking through like a 90-degree, like if the most that they could that's starting to was in like a 90-degree quadrant, it wouldn't be so bad because everything would have to come through that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Choke
couldn't
point.
just be spread all
Yeah.
over the place. So
I don't know.
yeah.
Like, I'm sure GGG has to consider that something like Glacial Hammer is relevant, or they're going to change it to be a bigger AoE. Like they've recently changed melee so that you're swiping at more, or maybe that's a POE 2 thing. I forget, but you're like your swipe is actually going to hit everyone in front of you. But I don't know. It's one of those things where, do you think maybe GGG expects us to make multiple characters to be successful at different things?
I don't know. I've done that in the past in ways I've played where I've had a clear speed and then I've had a boss killing. I have no interest in doing that now. I just don't. There's no way the majority of players have time to do that. You just don't. It's too much to gear something up and to level something up and to, to actually play it. I don't think the average player has time to be like, I'm just going to have my clear speed, especially in leagues. Like that to me is more a MMO style or, a long-term standard-ish style RPG where you've got this is your guy that you're going to bring on when you're doing something that requires a faster whatever, and then you've got something that's got higher damage to do single target. I've played lots of games in the past that are more that way. I wouldn't be doing that for a 3-month league.
Yeah.
Just based on the amount of time that I can play.
Totally. Well, anyway, remember last episode I was saying that guy did that thing and I didn't like it? You remember that?
You should be specific.
I thought that was pretty good. Wow, we've known each other this long and you don't even know what I'm talking about?
It could be so many things.
Well, remember that boss while I was leveling my CI character? He doesn't spawn. I think it's the Act 10 of Avarice, who
right.
It's the fight where Innocence doesn't come out.
Yep.
Remember I was talking about those beams, those red beams that come down, and I couldn't figure out what type of degen it was or how to get rid of it or what resisted it.
Yeah.
Well, I was reminded mapping this week on console of another boss that has some sort of degen that I have no idea how to get rid of or what it is. Now, here's the thing on console. On PC, if you're fast enough, you can highlight with your mouse over an icon of one of your buffs or debuffs, and it tells you what it is, whether it's maim or whatever that spider web thing is that slows you to molasses. Well, on console, you can't do that. You just have an icon.
Right.
And so who was it? It was Burtok, Conjurer of Bones. He's the boss of Necropolis.
Okay.
And so anyway, he can hit you with a couple attacks that they look bony or bone shards or something. I don't know. And they have this circle that you can get around. Anyway, there's a lot of easy ways to get out of it. But once you have that debuff, which stacks lots, I have no idea. It just started eating my life. No health flask could get rid of the stacks. Like it wasn't a bleed. I couldn't figure out what it was. So anyway, it was quite annoying.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one.
I just wish that I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish there was a way for me to know what my build was lacking.
You have a lot of wishes, Tyler.
Well, you know what? There's nothing on the wiki. Okay. Burtok on the wiki is red. He doesn't even have a link. So not my fault. Not my fault. But speaking of wish lists, ready? Ready?
I can't wait.
Oh no, this is a really good one. We're gonna get 1 billion more followers because of this wish.
You don't have followers with a podcast.
Well, I don't know. What are they called? Listeners? People?
You weird mixer, streamer.
I wish that the trees in the Spider Forest map or maps with that base type didn't go in front of the camera so much. I wish they were cut off.
They go in front of the camera, but I wish they did what that other thing is where they like disappear as they're because they don't. Yeah, Jungle Valley's the same.
I get so nauseous doing it, and I forget every time which maps, because I get mixed up the base types of the maps that are like the ones where you're underground in a spider lair and there's nothing in your way. It's just a maze of webs and stuff compared to, forest should make sense. Maybe that'll trigger next time.
Jungle Valley is really bad for that too.
Yeah. There's a few of them. Anyway, it makes me really nauseous, and I really wish. I don't see a value to it. I don't want to fight the map. I want to fight the enemies. So anyway, that's my wish list.
Add to your wish list.
Oh yeah. And this is part of my I hope, not I wish, because
you have another one. Okay.
Oh yeah. That
so we've got I hope and I wish.
I hope altitude never changes in Path of Exile. I love that everything's basically on the same platform in regards to damage, even if I'm higher or lower than someone. So let's say I'm up some stairs. and I'm using my Righteous Fire character and I'm constantly burning, if I'm upstairs, my Righteous Fire is burning people above or below, just as long as they're within that circle. I don't have to be on the same level of them. I love that. I love it. Keep it. When PoE 2 comes out, keep it. Don't make me be on the same level as people. Otherwise, make everything on the same level. I hope.
So you now have 2 lists.
That's right.
Okay, so we've had some requests from people that have asked about, maybe different things that we could talk about, which I'm not super big into. Like, I like that people have some, thoughts and ideas. I don't want it to be like, it's not, I don't think it's a learning podcast. It's mostly us just talking nonsense. But if we can help people, I think that's good. Yeah. We're like mediocrely smart people in PoE. We know our stuff. So, and we've been playing it for a while. So, but a lot of people have talked about looting, but then more about crafting, how we kind of go about doing it. So I'm going to let you take this one and what sort of your thought is.
Baby.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a billion different ways to go about things with the currency that you have in the game. But so people ask kind of like what do you pick up? Why are you getting rid of what you're getting rid of from your stash tab? Also how you craft, and it's all completely intertwined, and it has to do with your knowledge of affixes, right? Suffixes and prefixes. But if I was to really like narrow down crafting, there's basically 2 kinds of crafting, right? There's your chaos spamming crafting, which is basically just redropping an item, right? It's basically you going through a map, but faster. You're chaos, and you're just hoping for something legit that matches. And then there's the method where you're actually choosing your mods, and that's not the chaos method, that's the exalted method. And so the order that chaos and regal vendor recipes are in should give you a hint as to which method is more valuable, right? The chaos recipe is for items. The vendor chaos recipe is for items that are up to item level 74, 75. And then it's the regal that's for all the items that are higher than that. And so ideally you're farming higher level maps and have higher level items, and therefore you're making regal orbs with vendor recipes. And since transmutations and alterations are really easy to acquire, crafting kind of starts making sense at that point. So quickly, the chaos alching method, it's a very small method of how to do things, but you're crafting with chaos. It's honestly, it's not really crafting. Like I mentioned, you're desperately just re-rolling items and hoping that something decent drops for you for what you currently need. But it's basically just like redropping an item. There are a couple things that they work kind of like alching, but you can get a little bit more specific. For example, essences. You use those on a normal item, and it's basically just like alching, but the really cool thing about them is that you're getting a guaranteed mod, and you already know the value that you're going to be getting, the tier that you're getting. So that's really cool. But the consequence to that is you're getting one mod you like. Everything else is random. Maybe it's crap. Maybe it'll conflict with your build if you're doing something like Elemental Equilibrium. You don't know. Delve is kind of the opposite end of that. It's still like alching, but you're choosing general mods that you want, but you're not getting to choose specifically what they are. So you're getting more relevant mods, but you're not sure exactly what you're getting. Whereas Essence is you're getting very specific mod, and then you have no idea what you're getting. So they're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they basically just work like alks. Now, in terms of using your exalts, if you're one of those people where you've played 1 or 2 leagues and you've had a couple exalts drop, this is kind of what you would normally use them for, the very basic way to use them for. So for those that have been too scared to use your exalts, you take a base type that you really want, and then you transmute it, which means you turn it into a magic item. And then you're using alterations, which just change the 1 or 2 mods of your magic item over and over and over. You use a billion alterations until you get a high roll of the specific mod that you're looking for. Some people at this point is now where you would use a regal orb and turn it into a rare item. But before you do that, you have the option of using an orb of augmentation or augment orb? Orb of augmentation.
Yeah,
I forget. I should have written that down. Anyway, so when you use a regal orb, Well, here, how about this? A magic item obviously can only have one prefix and one suffix. And using an augmentation adds a random affix of the opposite affix that you had. So if you used your alteration to get a prefix, using an augmentation will add a random suffix. Now, when you use a regal orb, it obviously turns your magic item into a rare item, allowing it to have 6 affixes, but it will only add one more random affix to your rare. So you're going to have a magic item with 1 or 2 mods, and then when you use a regal, it's only going to add one more mod. Maybe it'll be prefix, maybe it'll be suffix. So the primary part of crafting that costs exalts, there's a modifier that lets you craft 3 affixes onto your rare item. That in itself is a suffix, and you use up a suffix spot by creating or crafting that ability to craft 3 custom affixes on your item. So when you're crafting with a multi-mod crafting recipe that costs exalts to apply to your rare, you obviously are going to have to keep in mind which 4 affixes you want on your item, right? Like the first one, of course, would have been added with the alteration, and then the next 3 are going to be added with the multi-mod recipe. So
well, you're also going to hit one with the regal too. So hoping that it's decent, or you're going to have to try and take it off.
And keep in mind throughout this entire process, when you regal something, that random affix might actually be the complete opposite of what you want or screw over what you were hoping to have. And that's the exact same thing with the augmentation. When adding an augmentation, it'll add that 5th affix for you on your rare, but it could screw over the process. So for example, I had a magic item drop that had +1 to all fire spells, right? And I wanted it for my Righteous Fire build. I augmented it, and it added a cold dot multiplier. And that screwed me because you can't have a cold dot multiplier and a fire dot multiplier on the same item. It blocks one out. So I had to go through and use another billion. Like I basically just lost my +1 to fire skills because I used the aug. I was getting greedy. I was hoping for something a little bit bonus, a little bit extra. I got one of the few mods that I couldn't run with it, and I couldn't even regal it. Right? So go ahead.
And then sometimes too, when you do actually, let's say you did transmute it, get the one you want, and then regal, more than likely you're probably not going to get the one you want. So what a lot of people do when they're crafting them specifically is then have to try to annul the item to take off. The annulment orb is going to remove one of the affixes on your item. So it's the only way that you could get a rare item with one single affix so that you can craft as much as you want. That used to matter a whole lot more when you weren't limited to 3, because now you're limited to 3 crafts, but it's the only way that you can like really control as much as you can about how you craft under there, but it can get very expensive.
Yeah, for sure. Now, don't go around thinking. Now, I know that's basic for some people, but we're asked about how crafting works and what to craft and what to junk. So there's a lot of people out there that do want to know how it works. And I know that was kind of scrambled, but don't think, for those that haven't really gotten into exalted crafting, don't think that all of your gear is eventually going to be multi-modded rares, right? Where you've used your exalted orb to be able to craft 3 specific mods that you want. Even if you're doing builds with a lot of influence items, you need great life rolls, you need great resist rolls all over the place. If you're energy shield, you need 2 great rolls, right? The flat and the percentage increases. They're both prefixes for energy shield. And the same goes for physical damage, right? You need that big increase in physical or for the big percentage and flat increases. And you can't multi-mod everything, right? Because you're going to be short affixes as you go through, and you're just not going to be able to be capped or have great stats that you want. So you are going to be dependent on RNG on some of your gear.
Yeah, and also with that too, you have to have unlocked the things you'd like to craft onto it. If you haven't gone through the game and unlocked things that you want to craft, you're just wasting it anyway, because you're going to be the multi-mod is already very expensive to craft.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to be throwing on the transmute cost crafts.
Right. So when I'm going through my old stash tabs or my current loot for my most recent map, I'm looking for one of 2 things. Items that are a high enough item level that they have a chance of rolling the highest tier mods that interest me for my build. So to be safe for the most part, that's item level 84 or higher. Those are most of the time they're specifically highlighted in filters, including my own. I look for and hope that they've rolled well, and if they didn't, I can use them to craft from scratch. So, like if an item level 84 pair of boots drops, I know that for the most part, I'm going to be able to roll a tier 1 mod on all of them if I wanted to. Now, you're not going to get a tier 1 mod for everything you're rolling. That's just not how the game works. But you have the possibility of getting tier 1 rolls. And so if you're looking for life or if you're looking for resist, you can get the highest ones. And if for some reason that item level 84 rare has crappy ones, you can just scour it and you can use that item to craft. So I'm looking for, as I said, items that are item level 84 or items that have great rolls that apply to my build, but also have a free prefix or suffix. So I like to be able to add a little bit extra of what I need, right? So for example, I really like boots that with the craftable recipe that add a little bit of movement speed, but also make me immune to chilled ground. I really like that. Now, that mod doesn't drop. You can only craft it. So with boots, I'm always looking for a really high health roll, which is a prefix, some really good resists, which are suffixes, and no movement speed, and a free prefix. It's kind of a list, and it might be hard to listen to in a podcast, but I'm basically looking for all of that with the free prefix because all movement speed mods are prefix, and you can't have two movement speed mods combined. If you have a crappy movement speed mod, or if you have a movement speed mod, you can't craft another movement speed mod on it. But there's going to be certain mods as well. Like let's use my Righteous Fire build, for example, again. There's dropped mods can roll higher than craftable mods. So I forget what the highest craftable fire dot multi mod is, but I think it's up to 20 or 24%. But you can drop a lot higher than that. So if you get something that drops with that high multi mod that you can't craft, maybe you're planning around that. So it might seem overwhelming at first, but when you stick with one build, don't like if you're really into crafting or you really want to start knowing gear, just stick with one build that you like for a while. Learn about and then you'll naturally start learning about suffixes and prefixes. It gets more tricky when you're using influenced items because it adds a lot more rare mods, more difficult mods to get. But at the end of the day, it really adds a big value to regal vendor recipes, right? You can't be too short on regals because you're going to use a ton of alterations to get what you want. Regal it, shoot, that doesn't work. Scour it, now you're using a transmute again, alterations like crazy, then a regal, shoot, that didn't work. So you can never have too many regals. But don't be intimidated by it. It's learning about suffixes and prefixes is 100% how you figure out how to deal with your loot.
Yeah, and I would say for crafting, it's new, I think. I feel like this was just developed this league, but there is a website, craftofexile.com, is amazing for crafting. Like if you can go to the website and they've got a thing about like how to use. So they actually like walk you through it, but it is insanely strong for trying to plan out how you build and how you craft specific items. Don the Crown is a guy that does YouTube and I think Twitch, but he had a video that also broke down like how to use craftofexile.com, but you should really check it out. If you want to do crafting, it is super, super good for telling it. It even breaks down like what are your chances? What's the likelihood? How much is this going to cost you in order to try and, if the stats are right and if the weight is correct, here's your best chance of trying, even breaking it down into fossils and essences and everything. So yeah, crafting in this game is awesome, but it's huge. It's really, really big.
Yep. And for those that were more interested in how to pick up or get rid of certain items, it's that knowledge of crafting that lets you be aware of what's valuable or not, or how rare something is. And so play with your crafting bench. Take a look, like throw something in there, see which mods are only on boots or only on chests or this and that. Like you learn it pretty quick. You'd be surprised.
And it's really hard to try and tell somebody. Like it'd be really hard for us to say, here's exactly what you should look for And here's they're just, the combinations are insane in this game. You'll learn it the more you play it, and if you junk something, you junk something.
Yeah,
we've all done it.
Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've like, oh man, I just need some, I'm junking whatever unique item that dropped or something like that, or something that I didn't realize. Oh wow, look at that. That has 340 resists. Oh wow, is with an 80 plus max life and 2 free prefixes. I don't need that.
Yeah, it just takes time. You just play the game more.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for listening. I guess to wrap up though, this has been I don't know. It's been pretty interesting being cooped up for so long. Some people are taking it better than others. So just a reminder to be kind, extra kind. There's a lot of people that need love and kindness and not rash impatience. And a game like Path of Exile it's obviously our favorite game, but it can be infuriating sometimes if your build's not working or you're dying and you don't know why. But this is a time where there's people like someone who's lonely, for example. They can't go, maybe they can where they are, and some places have a harder lockdown, but they can't just go for a random walk or go to a movie, go out to the bar, go for a drink. They're basically stuck at home. So there's going to be a lot more people kind of more impatient or more sad or more at the end of their rope. And so just have a little bit more extra patience and kindness and love for people as you're going through and trading or responding on Reddit or whatever it is. Be the person that gives someone else hope instead of give them something negative to dwell on.
This has been Therapy with Tyler.
Episode 22.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast, episode 2. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Thank you for joining us. If you're looking for any more information or links that we might have talked about, you can find them in the show notes listed below. We have a private. It's not private. I said private last time. It's not private if I tell you the link is below. There's a link to the Discord if you want to hop in. We do run a private league that
it's
you
a
can join.
Link.
It's a secret link only for those who find it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the rest of our links, whatever, are down there. We're on Twitter at ForeverExiled82, and we're on the internet, www.foreverexiled.com. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you in episode 23.
Happy crafting.